Welcome to the Genius Way Show with your host, Ben Hummell. The aim of this show is to provide education, encouragement, and insights for people who are on their own personal development journeys. As a psychotherapist, teacher, author, and creator of the Genius Way process, Ben will focus on identifying common challenges to living a purposeful life, and will share valuable psychological and spiritual tools to help you make healthy and empowering life changes. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey friends, welcome to the Genius Way Show. I'm your host, Ben Hummell. This is the show where we talk about life skills that are conducive to a personal development journey. And hopefully that's the journey that you're on, and that you've tuned into the correct show to help you figure out some places where you might feel a little stuck, or some places where you might need a little bit of inspiration and a boost and some techniques and tools to continue on your life journey. So we're going to talk about sensitivity today. And before we get into it, I want to read you a poem by Rumi that kind of discusses this topic. And here it goes. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing out for some new delight to come to you. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them all at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from the beyond. So this is Rumi kind of discussing how, as a human being, we feel things, right? This is all about emotions. The guest house is our body and our mind and our kind of nervous system, our experience. And he's saying every day something else happens, and that's kind of typical for a human being. And especially for people who you might be one of, people who are extremely sensitive. There's a term for that called the highly sensitive person, an HSP. And so this highly sensitive person, if you are one of them, you feel things really deeply. And 9 times out of 10, when you were younger, this sensitivity was pretty scary and hurt quite a bit because you didn't understand it, you know? But I'm here to tell you, again, as a psychotherapist and as a genius coach, we need our sensitivity. And our sensitivity is actually a strength rather than some kind of weakness or vulnerability, right? So today's show is going to be about learning something along the lines of a life skill that helps us to reframe our idea of sensitivity as some kind of weakness or vulnerability into a superpower. And so think about it this way. If you're walking through the world in a sense of feeling everything, in a way of like, I'm perceiving things and I'm feeling things, and you don't really know what to do with those feelings, and they feel really strong, it's going to feel pretty overwhelming, you know? And so I don't know if you had this experience, but when I was a kid, some of my friends would say, hey man, you're too deep. You're too deep, you know? And as a kid from New Jersey, kind of a straight male kid from New Jersey, that was kind of like a curse for me. It's like, why do I have to be so sensitive? Why do I have to feel everything and try to understand it and everything? But now I understand. Oh, that was kind of how I was wired. And that depth allowed me to feel so many things that otherwise I wouldn't have been able to feel or perceive or understand or experience, right? So how is that for you? How has your sensitivity helped you or hurt you so far in your life? How have you understood your sensitivity? What, you know, what is the idea that you have about, how you feel things and how you perceive things? How have you come to grips with that yet or not? Right? So, in my book, sensitivity is a strength, and we need a few qualities and a few kind of concepts to help us make our sensitivity actually a strength rather than a weakness or a vulnerability, right? I remember I had a client one time, and I was trying to describe to this client, you know, what was going on and why they were having such a hard time with something. And I said, well, you're a real sensitive person, so blah, blah, blah. And they took intense offense at that. I was like, whoa, 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 hold on here. I'm not insulting you by saying you're sensitive, but clearly this person had listened to a lot of people telling them that they were very, very, there's something wrong with them being so sensitive. I mean, think about it. When you hear that, somebody says, don't be so sensitive. It's kind of an insult, isn't it? It's like a big insult. And hardly anybody will take, hey, you're so sensitive, as a compliment. So in my case with this client, I was trying to say, hey, this is one of the reasons why you're experiencing your life in this way, because you have a deep sensitivity. And in my book, that's a great thing, because when we can be sensitive, we can feel all kinds of stuff. We can experience all kinds of stuff that a lot of other people can't necessarily. So to me, it was a great compliment, but I totally understand. Most people, when you say you're sensitive, it's insulting, and it's a sign of weakness. You should be tough, toughen up, get back up. Don't be so whatever, touchy feely. All those things that we've heard. So what's true is actually the opposite, because we have feelings and we have to have a place for them. We have to have a way of kind of like navigating through the things that we feel and not working against ourselves, right? So in this poem by Rumi, he's saying, welcome these things all in, but what is the key takeaway here for that Rumi poem? The poem is called something like The Guest House, which is like a, basically like a hotel. Every day there's a new guest, right? So what does that imply? It implies that feelings are temporary. They're like weather. Feelings come through us and we feel them, and then they move, right? And there's nothing particularly dangerous about weather, unless it's a hurricane or, something like that, a cyclone or a tornado. But in terms of, sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes there's some rain, there's some snow and some fog, and then it goes away, and we kind of like move with this weather. Same thing with emotions. Same thing with feelings. And feelings I'm using synonymously with sensitivity, right? And so the key to all of this that Rumi is telling us in his poem is like, you can let these in, you can see what there is, because it's only temporary. Tomorrow there'll be something completely different, or the next feeling there'd be something else. But you have the hotel, you have the guest house, it's yours. These things are just coming to visit, and then they're going away. So far I've been only talking about the negative effects of feeling deeply. What about the positive things? What about feeling so deeply in love? Letting yourself feel so incredibly in love with a person or a thing or a place. What about hearing a piece of music and being deeply moved by it? So deeply moved that if you try to tell somebody about it, they would think you're insane, right? But you feel it so deeply. All of these things are available to somebody who is sensitive and who is like taking their sensitivity in a responsible way. Like, this is how I roll. This is how I move through the world. And so the temporariness of the feelings, even the great feelings, means that you should savor them. You know, oh, look at this. Like the other day, probably New Year's Day, I went to the beach with my family, and it was just an incredible day. We just walked on the beach, and it was just exquisite. Everything that I encountered there, the seagulls, the people playing in the water, and the fact that it was, January January 1st, that whole thing was just it just I was just feeling so deeply and enjoying the whole experience of it. My feet in the sand, and just beautiful, right? But I'm right now, as you can see, I'm not on the beach. That was then. It was for a minute, and I could have missed the whole thing if I wasn't feeling it, if I wasn't kind of like really enjoying it. Okay. So we have things that are beautiful that we experience, things that are maybe scary or frightening or not pleasant that we experience, and they're all temporary. But the main thing is our guest house, the one that Rumi's talking about, that we experience all these things in, that these guests come by. The emotions are our guests, and they come in and they go, and the next day there's a new guest, and it's all part of being human. But the sensitivity is a strength, and we're going to get into that in our next segment. So let's take a moment and watch this short video about sensitivity. And on the other side, we're going to dig into this topic a little bit deeper.
Hey, you there. Yeah, you ever been told you're too sensitive? I have too. And let me tell you something. Sensitivity is your superpower. Let me share a story. There was a young woman named Maya. From a young age, she felt everything deeply. Joy, sadness, love, and pain all coursed through her veins with an intensity that often left her overwhelmed. People told her to toughen up. But Maya, she embraced her sensitivity. One day she walked into a park and saw an elderly man struggling to carry his groceries. Most people passed by, too busy with their own lives. But Maya, she felt his struggle. She didn't just see it, she felt it in her bones. She went over, offered to help, and the gratitude in his eyes was something she'd never forget. Her sensitivity allowed her to connect on a deeper level. When a friend was heartbroken, Maya didn't just offer a shoulder to cry on. She felt the heartbreak too, offering genuine comfort and understanding. Her friends often said, "You always know just what to say." That was her superpower at work. Maya's life was rich with experiences. She saw beauty in the mundane, found joy in the little things, and her empathy made her relationships deep and fulfilling. She could turn a rainy day into a cozy moment with a book and a cup of tea. Her sensitivity was not a weakness, it was her strength. So if you've ever been told to toughen up, remember Maya. Feeling things deeply is not a curse. It's a gift that makes your life more vibrant and meaningful. Sensitivity allows you to connect, understand, and love in ways that most people cannot. Embrace your sensitivity. It's your superpower. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. See you next time.
So as we were talking about before, we mostly have been preconditioned to see sensitivity as a weakness, as sensitivity is the same thing as vulnerability, okay? And we have to reframe that if we're going to make peace with the fact that we move through the world feeling things. And not only is it okay, not only is it necessary, that it's important to be able to feel everything that we experience here, because that's like the doorway into a deeper way of connecting with our lives. Okay. So the reframing has to take place. And reframing means, I used to see it in a certain way. And now from this day forward, because of the insight I have, and hopefully from this show, you get an insight into this, you can start seeing your life in a different way. And you have to kind of choose to see it in that reframed way. Like, oh, I feel sensitive. Like, let's say somebody yelled at you at work inadvertently and you got your feelings hurt. Just a clumsy example. Let's just say that happened. And you're feeling this and you're thinking about that person. And maybe, you've done the secondary thing of getting angry after you got hurt. And, you're kind of mad at yourself, that you feel weak or vulnerable, that you feel, sensitive, that this person's bad mood affected you, remember this show. Remember what I'm talking about here, and do the reframe. It's like, no, whatever that person said or however they said it, and I took it in some kind of offensive way, and I felt vulnerable, and you know like it hurt me. Take that hurt and reframe it as like, oh, look how deeply I felt that, right? And then as you acknowledge it, you can let it go. As you acknowledge it, you can let it move through you, like the weather I was talking about before. It comes into the guest house and then it moves out the next day or the next hour or the next minute, right? The whole point of the reframe of your sensitivity is to know that whatever you experience, whatever you feel, you're capable of feeling it. You're capable of dealing with it, of processing it, of putting it away, and it's not going to hurt you. Okay. Ultimately, yes, it might be hurtful in the moment. We all get our feelings hurt. We've all, had some kind of trauma as well. Some more than others. But the point is that this can be reframed as the experiences of a human life. And if we can let ourselves feel in that sensitivity, if we can let ourselves feel even the difficult things, we're going to feel the beautiful things that much deeper. Okay? Does that make sense? So that reminds me of a quote by Gibran, Khalil Gibran, that I'm going to read you. He was talking about love in that book called The Prophet. And, they were talking about the beauties of love and the hurt of love, and saying, there sometimes you get hurt, sometimes you feel beautiful. But then he says, but if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it's better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world, where you shall laugh, but not all your laughter, and weep, but not all of your tears. Okay, so wow, that's pretty intense, So in other words, if you hide from feeling deeply, sensitively, all of these things, and only want kind of beautiful feelings, yeah, you're going to laugh in your life, but not all your laughter. And you're going to cry, but you're not going to cry all your tears. It will be some kind of an incomplete life. It would be kind of like, going swimming and only putting your feet in the water, when we're here to kind of dive right in, right? So from our childhood experiences, it feels like it's dangerous to feel that deeply. But a lot of us are wired that way. Whether we resist it or not, we do feel it. We feel. So we either make this feeling our friend, or we kind of push it away our whole lives and never kind of reconcile with it. And I opt for the first thing, where we make our feelings our friends, even the hard ones. Okay? Now, that being said, when you find that you're a highly sensitive person, when you find out that you feel things deeply and you've done the reframe, but you're still getting hurt or whatever, then the next step has to come in. And this is the life skill that I want to talk about today with sensitive, highly sensitive people. And that is the life skill of knowing how and when and why to create a very, very clear boundary for yourself and your sensitive nature. Okay? So let's take our example from before. Somebody at work says something to you and it's kind of hurtful, and you're feeling it, but you're not saying anything about it. You're kind of trying to mask and hide how you feel. So a boundary could be, one, you could now know this person is not really that safe, so I might not be as open with them as I have been, because they clearly don't seem like a safe person. They can be very hurtful, whether they're knowing it or not. I can not be as open with them as I thought I could. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way is to be like, you know, have like something to say in return. They said something that was hurtful, and you can say something like, "Wow, nothing speaks louder than just the truth." It's like, "Oh, that one felt kind of hurtful. Was that your intention? Is that what you're trying to do?" Because I don't know what you're trying to get at, but that felt a little hurtful. Is that what was happening there for you? Is that what you were trying to do? Something like that. So the idea is that boundaries are a complete prerequisite when you know that you have this kind of highly sensitive nature. And to me, it's like a crime that it isn't taught in schools, um, like in every grade. The idea of boundaries. Like, if half of my clients knew how to keep boundaries, I'd be out of business. Seriously. you know People have trauma and problems and experiences because they do not know how to keep strong enough boundaries. They don't know that they're allowed to, right? So the two things together, when you realize that sensitivity is not a weakness or a vulnerability, but it's actually a strength to be able to perceive in that way. And number two, knowing that you have that deep sensitivity, knowing how to make a satisfactory boundary between you and the thing that's out there that you're feeling sensitive to, that's what's important. Those two elements there, knowing that it's actually a strength and having the proper boundary around it, right? Because if you just go walking around feeling everything without a boundary, you are definitely going to get hurt. And I think you can testify to that too. You already know that. You're definitely going to get hurt. And, you're not here to be a punching bag. You're not here to absorb somebody else's bullshit, basically. You're here to feel your life very deeply and to, have the proper boundaries to kind of keep people out. Okay. So I want to tell you a story about boundaries. All right. So once there was a little village, and in this village, on the outskirts, there was a snake. And this snake was very, very mean snake. And whenever somebody would kind of go into his area, the snake would bite them. Right. And so one day, a meditator was walking through the village. He didn't live there. He was passing through, and he was going towards the area where the snake lived. And they said, "Oh, you shouldn't go back there. There's a snake there that bites people all the time." And the meditator was like, "Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. Let me go and see." And so he came around the corner, and there's that snake, and the snake was ready to bite him. And the meditator's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. Let me see if I can trade you something. Instead of you biting me, I can teach you something that will help you to not have to bite people all the time." And the snake said, "Well, okay, why not?" And so they sat down together, and the meditator taught the snake how to meditate. And the snake was like, "Wow, this is great. This is really enjoyable." And the snake kind of like let down its guard and spent a lot of time learning how to meditate. And after a few days, the meditator said, "Hey, take it easy. I got to go on my way. Now, enjoy your meditation." The snake was like, "Great." And so, a year passed, maybe 2 years passed, and the meditator was coming walking through that village once again. And he asked about his friend, the snake. He said, "Hey, where's the snake? I taught him to meditate, and all the villagers said, "Well, we haven't seen him for, a long time, since practically when you left. We haven't seen him or heard about him." Okay, so the meditator looked back in the woods, and he went into this little cave where they were meditating together years before. And there he saw the snake, and the snake was meditating, but he was all beat up and cut up and bleeding. And the meditator's like, "What happened to you? What's going on?" And the snake was like, "Oh, well, you taught me how to meditate, and I feel so good doing this that I don't really do anything else. But in my vulnerability, when I'm here meditating, the kids come and they throw sticks at me and throw rocks at me. And, I don't want to bite anybody anymore. So I'm just kind of sitting here meditating. I just kind of, I kind of take it all. And, they take advantage of me. I'm very vulnerable. And the meditator said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. There's another part to what I should have taught you. I told you not to bite, but I didn't tell you not to hiss." Okay? The hiss is the boundary. Hissing is the boundary. So the snake, without being mean, without taking it personally, could just and the people would stay away. It's not out of violence or anything. It's just like, I have to know how to take care of myself if I'm going to be feeling things this deeply. I have to know how to take care of myself if I'm going to be a peaceful person. Okay, and so that's the same for you. When you learn the boundaries around your sensitivity, you may have to hiss sometimes, and that's okay. But there's no venom in it. There's no bite in it. It's just a very healthy way to keep yourself safe from people who are less sensitive to you in that moment. All right, so let's take a short break for a commercial. And on the other side of that commercial, I'm going to share a guided journey with you about this idea of sensitivity and how to enjoy the fact that you are a sensitive person. Hey guys, I'm really excited to let you know that I'm finishing up my new course, the Genius Way Process course. This course is for anyone who wants to discover what's in their genius, their inborn gifts, their talents, and their callings. In this course, I'm going to provide you with the 10 life skills that we all need to access our individual genius and to make it a part of our everyday life. If you'd like to know more about the Genius Way Process course and when it's available, go to thegeniusway.com and sign up to get notified. I can't wait to share this with you. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in, and then deeply exhale. To help you better understand how your sensitivity and your feeling self is a gift and valuable asset, I'm going to help you tune into the place within you where you experience the world through your feelings. First, allow a past experience where you felt something deeply to appear in your awareness. You don't have to try. Just allow the past experience to appear all by itself. So what happens in this experience? And what was the feeling or feelings you connected with it? Take a few moments and notice everything you can. Now notice where the feelings are strongest in your body. Could be your head, your chest, or your stomach. Just locate where you feel it most deeply. Next, see if this feeling has a color associated with it. what color do you see? Does this feeling have a temperature? Is it more hot or cold? How about a texture? Does it feel smooth, rough, wet, or dry? What other qualities does this feeling have? Finally, there's a message that this feeling has for you. What is this message? Now you've taken a closer look at a feeling and have noticed many other attributes and qualities that you may not have seen before. You can see that the more sensitive you can be to your own feeling experiences, the more you'll be able to gain insight, guidance, and direction from them. In this way, you can learn to trust that your feelings are accurately letting you know how you are experiencing your daily life. And now, with this experience fully intact in your awareness, and when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into this room. Yeah, so it was a woman named Elaine Aron that coined the phrase highly sensitive person. And she's got a whole series of books on them, which are, the different aspects of being highly sensitive. So if you want to read about it, that's a great place to start, Elaine Aron. And she did a great service to kind of point out this fact of, being sensitive, feeling things deeply is not a curse or a problem or a vulnerability. It's just, it's just how some people move through the world. And in my opinion, a lot more people can benefit from being in touch with how they feel about things in terms of expressing oneself and also kind of creating a beautiful environment in your own experience for a way to perceive things, right? And the other thing that's important about understanding sensitivity is that your feelings aren't there just as some wild ride. It's not just there as, some kind of miscellaneous weather happening. Your feelings are there and they're telling you how you're experiencing the world. They're giving you information. They are, they're kind of pointing you in a certain direction. There's intuition in there. There is, again, information on how, what's happening in the room at the time. And so a lot of times if we're, using the old frame of being sensitive as like, I'm overwhelmed with my emotions, I'm overwhelmed with everything, then, the feeling self is not your friend. But if you reframe it as, oh no, this is a good thing, I do feel things deeply, you're going to start being able to use what you feel as information, as guidance, as direction. Okay? So what a beautiful world that would be is if you could listen to how you feel about things and realize that your feelings are actually accurate. Your feelings are valuable. The way that you're perceiving your life means something. And you pay attention to it, and you have your own inner guidance on how to kind of move through the world instead of being confused and overwhelmed. So this is what happens when you shift that frame from I'm feeling too many things and I don't know what to do with it into this thing that I'm feeling here is I have to kind of use as an accurate measurement for how I'm experiencing my life right now. Whether this person is safe or this situation is safe, whether this is a good place for me to go, whether this is a good direction to move into. All of that stuff is actually there in your awareness to listen to if you can see it in the proper way, right? So reframing this, moving out of the place where feelings are just overwhelming and seeing that I can handle any feeling that I have because it's temporary, can't stay even if it wanted to. And even though the feeling might be big, it's going to come and it's going to go. Okay, so back to the guest house. Invite them all in. Let them all come in because they are there just to say hello and stay for a little while and then move on, right? That's part of our inheritance as a human, so we get to feel. And feeling with boundaries, being sensitive with the proper boundaries is the way to go. Okay, so let's take another short commercial break. And I'm going to come back with some words of inspiration for you to send you on your way this week.
Ben Hummell's writing comes from a deep well of experience, practice, and wisdom. The Genius Way teaches you the life skills you need to find your own unique genius. Summoning Genius helps readers to turn a midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal growth. You can find Ben's books on thegeniusway.com, Amazon, and most online booksellers.
Being keenly perceptive and feeling things deeply are some attributes of a sensitive person. And sensitivity is often thought of as a weakness or a vulnerability as we journey through life. Being a highly sensitive person is actually a gift and a source of strength if you know how to regard, protect, and use your sensitivity. So instead of feeling overwhelmed with how much you feel, you can reframe your experience as having the amazing ability to deeply experience the many colors of your life. And that's our show for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I really enjoyed hanging out with you. And here is your weekly self-inquiry journal prompt for you to write about this week. Okay. How can I reframe a recent feeling of sensitivity into a gift and a strength? One more time. How can I reframe a recent feeling of sensitivity into a gift and a strength? Great. All right, you got it. So until next week, I want to invite you guys to stay curious, be kind to yourself, and remember, your genius has something to say.
Thanks for watching The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummell. Make sure to visit thegeniusway.com for the resources you need to help you on your personal life journey. You can contact Ben at ben@thegeniusway.com. And you can follow The Genius Way with Ben Hummell on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for streaming The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummell.